a big toss-up for me as well.
Let's see. We've got UCLA. Their losses have come to California. Kind of embarrassing. They lost 43-17. A close one to Oregon State, who's still right there. They've only got one loss. Then they've beaten everybody else. Arizona lost to Oregon, Oregon State, and Stanford. But then they came back with a huge win against Washington, 52-17. And, of course, that big win against USC, 39-36. Really depends on which two teams show up. I mean, can Arizona stay on a 3-game high where they're playing at that level? Or does UCLA come out and play pretty well themselves?
Yeah, I mean, UCLA's signature win, if you want to call it that, is probably Nebraska, which is not that impressive at this point.
They beat Arizona State by 2 last week. I mean, that's also a big one.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of tough for me to buy into that hype too much. The thing that worries me about Arizona is they've struggled on the road so far this year. So that's something you got to look into a little bit. But if you take away the Oregon game for Arizona, where they just got drubbed, they look like a really solid team. And Oregon is far and away the best team in the Pac-12. So you almost just kind of have to remove them as an outlier at this point, which I'm willing to do for this analysis. So I'm going to take Arizona.
I'm going to take Arizona as well. But when you mentioned the away games, did you know this is only Arizona's 3rd away game all year?
That's pretty crazy.
So good job scheduling on that one.
I don't know how some teams can get away with that. But.
Yeah, I'm going to take Arizona. I just think their offense is too powerful, and they're really starting to hit their stride with coordinator or a head coach like Rich Rodriguez putting them in a new system. You always see the offenses build as the year goes on. I don't think they're done yet. I think they're about to put up some numbers.
How high do you think Arizona can go in the coming years? Can they get up there with Oregon in the Pac-12?
No, but I think they can be the new number 2. I think they'll compete with like a USC if they stay down. They could be a solid number 3.
So further on that question, if Rich Rod can get Arizona to that point, is he sticking around at Arizona for the long term, or is he looking for something else?
If Arizona has 2 solid years and then a year where maybe they go to a BCS bowl game, they sneak into the Pac-12 championship maybe, even with a loss and go to a big bowl, I think he's out to a more prestigious school.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot one more time here.
Okay.
Where is the perfect prestigious school landing spot for Rich Rod? Where would he have a great chance to be really successful?
Rich Rod would have a great chance to be really successful in Miami.
Okay.
And that's going to be a weird one, but they have the athletes.
Yeah.
They have the pipeline. He's typically getting Florida players anyway. I think Miami would be a great
I like that pick. I can see that. Like I said, there's been a lot of talk about Al Golden at Miami wanting to get out with the talk of even more sanctions coming that way. He's been linked to Boston College, which is probably going to fire their coach pretty soon. So maybe
Rich Rod has enough time to get a good record, and Miami clears himself out of all these allegations, and then it would
I think the timing may work out well because Miami, if Al Golden does leave, they're not going to be able to get a real great coach to come in right now. So give him a couple of years to fail there. Rich Rod a couple of years to build things up. We've just completed a perfect hypothetical scenario there, my friend.
I'm impressed.
That was some cool stuff. All right, let's move on to. I just couldn't help myself. Texas Tech back in the Big Ten for the 3rd straight week here, but this time not so much on their own merits, but for the struggles of their opponent, Texas, who for some reason is still ranked. So I'm not exactly sure how that one goes at this point. I'm still impressed, however, with Texas Tech, even after not being able to get it done completely against some of their bigger teams, and especially really laying an egg last week against Kansas State. But Texas Tech wins against TCU and West Virginia, looking pretty strong at this point. And then when you factor in that Texas almost lost to Kansas last week,
who has only won 1 game and has looked awful in every game, Charlie Weiss is in trouble out there. I don't know what he's going to do, but I do not see Texas on the rise. They are going the wrong way. Matt Brown is looking like a really overpaid coach at this point.
Absolutely.
He's got the talent there. What are they doing with it?
Yeah, I don't know. Texas is a one-dimensional team at this point. Pretty much all they have is quarterback David Ash, Malcolm Brown out with an injury, their running back. So definitely not working in their favor. No question for me, I'm going to take Texas Tech in this game. But, I don't know how things may look for Texas at the end of the season here. I think there's a very real possibility that this may be the year that Texas says enough's enough. We need a new coach.
It could be. I don't think it's been that bad. It's not been an Auburn year. I mean, they're still sitting at 6-2. They even if they have a train wreck into the year, they're sitting at 6-4, 6-5. Still going to a bowl game. I would have gotten rid of Mac Brown a long time ago.
Yeah.
Maybe when you had Muschamp, but I don't know. If they didn't have enough before now, I don't think they get rid of him this year.
I don't know. I mean, it's at some point they got to get fed up with it, but we'll see. So you're going to take Texas Tech here as well.
I am going to take Texas Tech.
All right.
The Tubervilles.
The Tubervilles. A lot of talk, coincidentally, linking him to Arkansas. You see that one happening?
I did. I don't think he wants anything to do with the SEC.
Yeah.
Just to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've seen Kentucky as well. I don't think he would take that job, but
I can see Arkansas more. They got more talent.
Yeah. He's from Arkansas as well, so maybe something going in there. Something to watch it out for. All right. Pac-12. We've pretty much already spoiled this one. Oregon, we have said multiple times today, far and away the best team in the Pac-12. They're playing a reeling USC team. There's no chance in my mind that USC can win this game. Oregon has just looked too strong.
They have, but this is college football. You never can predict it. The only way Oregon loses, they come out and lay an egg. Oregon is susceptible to these type of games that are close because they typically come out and in one quarter, maybe the first, second, or third quarter in a game, they just run away with it, score 35 points in a quarter, and then that's the game. USC doesn't have a great defense, but they've got enough of one, especially with all the hype that's going into this game. They could possibly put up a fight for a little while, make it a close game, and then it's anybody's game. I don't think that's going to happen. Oregon, I think, wins by a lot.
Yeah, I agree as well. Oregon, like you said, a very rhythm-based team. They got to get things going for them, but I don't think USC is a team that can stop them from doing that. And
it's only a 7.5-point spread.
That to me, I would be putting a lot of money on Oregon if I were a betting man.
Which we don't.
Which we would never do here. So, all right, so we got that one taken care of. Moving on to the Big 12, the Kansas State team that I just keep doubting. Gotta stop doing that.
Right.
But I put them on here again just in case people want to pick the upset. Oklahoma State, Kansas State. I know there are a lot of people who feel like maybe there could be an upset in this one.
I honestly believe this is the toughest game on the schedule. Oklahoma State plays the perfect role of villain right here, of upset, of spoiler, whatever you want to call them. Oklahoma State is positioned perfectly to upset Kansas State in this game. They're 5-2. Their only losses are to Arizona in a really close game. They probably should have won against Texas. They're rolling right now. They put up big offensive numbers. Kansas State, while their defense is okay, is susceptible to giving up a bunch of numbers to teams you would scratch your head out. Iowa State, Kansas, Oklahoma, they all put up, North Texas put up 21 on them. They all put up some numbers on them. So Kansas State, while they're really good on offense, averaging like 45 points a game, they are susceptible at times on defense, and you can't do that against a Cowboy team who is known for putting up numbers.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a relatively high-scoring affair. One of the things that does worry me about Kansas State the most is the 27-21 win over Iowa State. That kind of still sticks out to me as something to be concerned about, but some teams just know how to win. And regardless of what the stats look like and what the scores look like, at some point you just have to stop doubting them. And, in some ways maybe you can draw parallels between this Kansas State team and the 2010 Auburn team. A very good offense with a central playmaker, subpar defense that can do enough to get it done, but a team that just finds ways to win games.
But the biggest thing is that they are entirely one-dimensional on offense. They have one playmaker, and you better keep him healthy because if he goes down, Kansas State goes down.
That's true, but I've been burned so many times picking against Kansas State at this point, I can't possibly go against them.
Oh, no, I think Kansas State wins. They probably cover their 8.5-point spread pretty comfortably, so I'm taking Kansas State as well.
Yeah, all right, so let's run back through the Pick 10 here real quick. Both of us are going to take Auburn over vaunted opponent New Mexico State. Both of us with Alabama over LSU. Both of us are going to take Florida over Missouri. David's going to take Ole Miss. I'm going to take Georgia in that matchup there. Both of us with Texas A&M over Mississippi State. Both of us with Virginia Tech over Miami. Both of us with Arizona over UCLA. You want to take a guess on the next one? Oh, both of us with Texas Tech.
Hey, how about that?
Over Texas. And no surprise, both of us with Oregon over USC. And finally, we're both taking Kansas State over Oklahoma State.
I'm feeling it. It's time for both of us to move up a little bit this week.
We have got to move up. We're going to take another quick little break. We're going to talk about the results of a poll out on our website today. who should win the, not the SEC, but National Coach of the Year award. We'll talk about that here on the other side of Outputting Our Coverage.
I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been living in. And if you do not want to see me again, I would understand.
All right, we're back for the final segment here of Outputting Our Coverage. David, time for a quick plug.
Okay, so we've got a poll up on our outputtingourcoverage.wordpress.com blog. It is who is going to win the Coach of the Year award this year. If nothing else, go there for the pictures. We found the best possible pictures of all these coaches.
Coaches have very unflattering pictures floating around of them.
They're pretty bad. The only ones I couldn't find of were Mike Riley and Bill Snyder. Bill Snyder, I think, is too old for really bad pictures. I don't know that the camera was invented last time he was coaching.
True.
Mike Riley is a really kind of cool customer. But anyway, the results were Bill Snyder and Brian Kelly. Now, Bill Snyder, if you don't know, is a coach at Kansas State. He's about 1,000 years old. He's about...
He actually left and came back.
Right, he's Noah's age. Brian Kelly is the coach at Notre Dame. They're both undefeated. They're tied at 2 votes apiece. Nick Saban got a vote. Will Muschamp got a vote, which is a little weird.
Yeah, I'm not buying that one.
I think it was just because of his serial killer look and his pose. But the poll is not closed. We still want y'all to go out there and vote on our poll. We'll talk about it again next week. Once again, that's outputtingourcoverage.wordpress.com. Don't only vote on the coach. Also leave a comment. Tell us why your coach decides to win. Argue your case. This is your time to have a voice.
If you leave us a really good one, we will read it on the air.
We will.
We learned how to read, and we are willing to exercise that skill.
We haven't used it yet this year. We're really excited about it.
Yes.
So if you want to keep up with anything that we're doing, the quickest way to do that would be follow us on Twitter at OutputOurCover or on Facebook at OutputtingOurCoverage.
Yes, so we are all over the social medias, storming the nation in every way we possibly can.
And it's for you, the people. You have asked for it, so we provide
Yes, this is a democracy, and you have elected us through back-channel elections as your preferred sports information experts.
it. Don't forget to vote this week, by the way.
Yes, do that as well as your civic duty. We will be back next week to talk about more college football and the always exciting world of sports. Thanks for listening in. This is Outputting Our Coverage, and we will see you next week.